So when these men are put into that environment and there's so many more women, all of a sudden the women get a little more aggressive than they normally would be. All of a sudden they're going to come up to you a little bit more and talk to you. Costa Rica is a really, really cool place. We don't talk about it as much as we probably should.
They have had quite a lot of not successful stories with local men.
So they are open to a somewhat of an age difference, say a 15, even 20-year age difference?
Yeah. People live happy in Costa Rica there, so they don't have that like a special interest in finding somebody from another country and then move to that country and forget about that person.
So, Costa Rica, you know, you guys do the socials there, right? So there's lots of different ways you can go to meet a woman in Costa Rica at your office. You can just walk into your office, right? And you'll do one-on-one introductions.
Yes, absolutely.
And then you have the group tours.
Absolutely.
Then you have the Latin clubs where you're doing multiple one-on-one introductions and there's just more matchmaking going on than just if someone just walks in the door, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So you have all these different ways to do it. If it was up to you, because you know that you have the independent ways of just one-on-one introductions or the Latin club, and then you have the group tours with the socials, with a mixed in of one-on-one introductions as well as part of the group tours. What vehicle would you choose if you were a single man going to Costa Rica?
Well, there's one in particular that some people use, and in my case, I would really use as well. Pretty much it's just like writing letters to the lady, okay? And then that way you might feel if there's any connection at some point, and if that's the case, then you can just plan to do a single tour or group tour if you have more than one lady in mind that you would like to meet. So by doing a group tour, this is another way where you can meet that women and many others, okay, and find the right one for you, or probably the Latin club membership as well. So the point here is to send letters to the lady and find out those who are compatible with you, you know, and decide if, okay, so I have written to several of them and I feel some sort of chemistry. So in order to not continue writing letters forever, it's the time for me to go to Costa Rica as soon as possible and meet with them face to face and see how it goes, because through the letters it's going pretty good, but we need to find there's a connection when we see face to face.
Okay. And I understand that. I am not a huge fan of just doing a lot of writing. I tell that to guys all the time, that you don't have to write. You can just go over and meet in person, or you write with a plan, right? Like, okay, I'm going to take a tour, and now I'm going to write a few of the women to see who they might have, like you say, some chemistry with, at least as much as you can tell through letters. And then maybe meet them when you get there, so it speeds things up a little bit. But if I don't write anything and I just go, I can still meet women there without writing at all, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
but
good.
So that is always something that we can do.
Would you recommend a group tour over individual? Or which one do you think is better, or does it depend on the circumstance?
You know, based on the situation, I would recommend both. Some guys prefer doing a group tours where they can meet many women, you know.
At the socials
yes,
and everything.
Absolutely. But at some point they feel kind of intimidated by having so many women at the social event.
Some guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. They feel like a ball on a ball fight. That's the way how a client put it to me when we were the one social we had once. And then he decided to do it a single tour. So at the end he told me that the single tour it worked much
It was better for him. He felt more comfortable just meeting the women one-on-one,
yeah,
as opposed to doing the group tour.
Yes.
You know, and it's very personal. It really does depend. I mean, I am a huge believer in the group tours. I think that even if you feel a bit uncomfortable, the odds are so much more in your favor because you're at these social events. And yes, you may feel, I like that, you're like a bull in a bullfight. But you're meeting so many different women, and yes, it's out of the ordinary, it's out of your comfort zone, and it's not usual, right? Because usually it's the woman who's getting all this attention from all the guys. Like you walk into a bar, there's a few women, lots of guys, and the women are just constantly getting hit on. So they're used to that. We're not. How often do you walk in the bar and get hit on by all these women? Not very often,
No.
right? Me, it happens a lot because I am really good looking, but I'm the exception to the rule here. Just kidding, okay? You gotta have a little humor in these things, guys. No, it doesn't happen to me either. But the point is when you go on one of these tours, and it's not because we all got on that plane and flew over to Costa Rica and got better looking, right? And got off the plane and we look like Brad Pitt, okay? No, that doesn't really happen on plane rides. But what happens is you're thrown into a room with probably 7 to 8 to 9 times more women than there are men, because there's usually about at least a 7-to-1 ratio
Yes.
of women to men. And these women tell us that they're interested in meeting for a serious relationship, not possibly marriage. And the men are telling us that. So when these men are put into that environment and there's so many more women, all of a sudden the women get a little more aggressive than they normally would be. All of a sudden they're going to come up to you a little bit more and talk to you. I've seen in Ukraine where we have, sometimes it's a 12 or 13-to-1 ratio, and the women get very aggressive, where they're really kind of grabbing on and things like that. Because, it's their one opportunity to actually meet and talk to the men. And, some people say, oh, well, John, that's not really fair because there's so many more women than there are men. It's not really fair to the women. But, we've been doing this for so long, and we found that if we tried to do it like 1-to-1, where if there's 15 men, we just have 15 women at that social, the odds of those two groups really making a lot of matches are very low because there's just not that many in numbers, right? But when you have, maybe 100 women and 10 men, now the odds of making something happen between that group is better because you have so many more that are meeting, right? So these men have the opportunity to meet all these women, and all these women have the opportunity to meet these men. And then you do it again the next night with a different group of women. Now all these women have the opportunity to meet these men, and these men have the opportunity to meet these women. And this just makes it so much more conducive to having that opportunity to find that match. Because it worked for me. I mean, the only way that I ever met Tanya, my wife, who I met 25 years ago now, next month, 25 years ago in July.
Wow.
The only way that we met was being at that social. I never wrote a letter. I never knew she existed. I didn't pick her off a website, even though she was on a website. I didn't know she was there. I just saw her at that social, and I thought she was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. And I walked up to her, and of course she blew me off. It took some time to convince her I was a great person. But if not for that social, I wouldn't have had that opportunity to convince her that I was a great person, right?
Absolutely.
And so I really like the ability to do that. Now, some guys are shyer, like you said. Some guys are a little more intimidated by going into a group of women like that. But my gosh, guys, if you can get past that and do that, these guys put on wonderful socials in Costa Rica. And you'll have the opportunity, and you're given a matchmaker that's at your side all night, right? You're not just thrown in there alone. You have someone at your side that's helping you. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, normally at the social event, we have an interpreter, a female interpreter, and this person will be with you during the 2 social events that we have. In each single social event, you will meet different women. And this person will be with you taking notes about those ladies that might feel there's a connection, And by having this person, believe me, it's going to be a big plus for you in order to find and meet the right person.
It's like having a dating coach next to you the whole time. They're talking to you, they're encouraging you, they're helping you talk to the different women, they're translating for you if they don't speak English. They're doing all these things for you. And they're with you all night for those 4 or 5 hours. They're at your side. They're taking notes. They're making dates for you. They're meeting the women for you. I mean, what would you pay in the United States for someone to do all that for you for basically 8 hours, because you have 4 hours and then 4 hours the next night, right?
Yeah.
And this person's there at your beck and call, helping you, and then giving you advice too. Like, if I've seen where sometimes you'll see the matchmaker saying, "No, I just don't think that's going to be a good match for you based on what you told me. You said you wanted children."
Absolutely.
She's telling you that she doesn't really want children, and now you're saying, "Well, I don't care anymore. I'll change." Well, no, you really got to think about the core values that you want. And you can't just switch like that. And they talk to you like that, and they try to give you advice and help you. Now, whether you take that advice or not, it's totally up to you, right? A lot of times we'll talk until we're blue in the face, and no one listens. That's fine. I mean, that's human nature. Sometimes you have to learn the hard way, right? I'm sure you've given advice to guys that totally ignore you.
Absolutely.
You've been helping bring people together for 2 decades. I mean, it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I think at this moment, since it's been many, many years, I don't recall how many people we have brought together who are very happy. But it's something that throughout the years, the time that we have had social events, there's always been a group of people who felt that connection.
Oh, yeah. Isn't it cool when you get like calls from old clients, just thanking you, like, "Oh, Gustavo, it's been 5 years, we're still together." You get the email with maybe their child being born or something like that, because we get that all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really neat, isn't it?
It's not something like we get any notification right immediately, but sometime after, "Oh, wow, but you didn't tell me." Or when we call the lady to set up the date, "Well, I was in your last social event that you had about 6 months ago, and I met this guy." "Okay, and then what happened?" "Well, we felt that connection, and actually we got married." "Wow, but why didn't you tell us anything about it?"
Yeah, sometimes they forget about us. It's like, we met at some conference. Yeah, and so, yeah, we don't even know. This is why we do like to call the women and make sure that they're still active. And sometimes we find out that they're not, that they're married or there's something like that. And of course, we move their status off the site, change that, and move on. But it's a wonderful feeling when you see that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's something really, really nice. Like, okay, we are doing something good that is helping people to be together. Person who are looking for that special someone, So it's great. It's something really rewarding on what we do. So what we're doing is right, and yeah, it's good. It feels good, Yeah.
Gustavo, I want to thank you so much for coming on and talking about Costa Rica. And guys, if you want to meet Gustavo yourself, then get on this tour or go independently, but just go to Costa Rica, because, if you meet a wonderful woman, which I'm sure you will, there's so many of them there, then you can go off to the beaches. It's not that far of a drive. I mean, San Jose is a big city, lots of restaurants, lots of stuff going on there, but it is just a big city. There's no beaches or anything in San Jose. No. It doesn't, hit the water. But once you get outside of San Jose and you start getting to the beach areas and stuff like that, the jungles, the volcanoes, I mean, it is a backpacker's paradise. The ecology, everything there in Costa Rica, simply amazing. So there's so many different things to see and do there. And why not just take this opportunity, take a tour, call it a vacation, go down there, see what happens, and explore Costa Rica. It's a wonderful thing. All right.
Absolutely.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
Really appreciate it.
Well, my pleasure. So those guys who are watching this video, I just would like to say not to think about this anymore. I mean, if you are really interested in finding that special person, just use any of the services through the agency. It could be like a club or a group tour, or just sending letters to the ladies and see if there's any chemistry and something like that, and then plan a trip to Costa Rica.
Absolutely. Go. You won't regret it. It's a wonderful, wonderful destination. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye now.
You too can experience the romantic adventure of a lifetime. Join men from all over the world as they take a trip and find their future brides. Check out our website at
costa-rica-women.com.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Then click on the notice bell to get notified every time we add something new.